Good morning. My name is Savannah Fitch. I am 20 years old, and I attend McEwen University, and I'm working towards a Bachelor of Social Work degree. I work 3 days a week in retail, and am full-time co-parenting my playful and curious 2-year-old son, Charles. It's a hard balance, but my job provides the money I need to ensure that my son and I have a safe and secure home. I know my education is what will get me out of the cycle of working long hours for minimum wage. Once you hear my story, you'll understand why providing my son with safety and stability is my top priority. My story starts early at the age of 2. That's when my mother became addicted to crack cocaine. I mention her first because now that I'm a mother, I can't imagine not putting my child first. But my mom put her addictions first, stealing from me and those around her, going to jail for her choices, and as a result, robbing me of stability. My parents weren't together, and my dad's home wasn't any better. He was also an addict, and like my mother, spent time in and out of jail. I spent most of my youth moving between their homes and my grandparents' home. At my grandparents' house, I enjoyed a big yard and a full fridge, and my birthdays were always celebrated. My grandparents expected a lot of me, and even when times were tough, I felt motivated to live up to their expectations. Thanks to my grandmother, I have perfect handwriting to this day. Despite attending 15 different schools by the time I turned 12, I was a straight A student. But things really changed for me when I turned 13. My grandfather had lost his 3rd battle with cancer. My grandmother was heartbroken by his death, and even though she had promised I could live with them until I finished university, she found she couldn't care for me on her own. She still feels guilty about this. You see, my grandfather's passing was the beginning of the most unstable part of my life. After his death, I was sent to live with my dad, but he ended up in jail. So then I was sent to live with my mom. Imagine a rebellious teen girl living with her mother for the first time. That's hard enough. Now imagine that girl's mother is a recovering addict who had never parented before. This was my life. I was angry, I was lonely, and I was self-harming. Thankfully, I started seeing a mental health and addictions worker. The worker, Stacy, understood me and believed in me. When Stacy learned that I enjoy singing, she paid out of her own pocket to send me to a televised singing competition, which was really cool. She had a huge impact on my life. At age 14, I knew that I couldn't live with my mother any longer, so I moved out with an older boyfriend and started working full-time for a couple of years. Eventually, I decided to go back to school. This meant returning to live with my father, as there was no high school in the town where I had lived. My dad's house was an ongoing target of police raids. It was a drug house and a flop house. Being in that environment and hanging out with old friends is what triggered me to start using cocaine regularly. I tried to stick with an outreach school I was attending and began dating my friend Zachary. A few years into our relationship, I found out I was 3 weeks pregnant. At first, I wasn't comfortable with the idea of keeping a baby. I was scared that my baby would end up living a similar life to mine. But Zachary felt very strongly that we could make a plan, start fresh, and become a family of our own. That sounded really hopeful to me and motivated me to stop doing drugs. I quit everything cold turkey. We started planning for a healthier future. Before we could get our plan off the ground, I found myself and my unborn baby in serious danger. I was still living with my dad when he was held at gunpoint during a drug-related home invasion. I knew then that I had to get out of there. That's when Zachary and I left everyone we knew and came to Edmonton. We had nothing, and we needed a lot of help. It was a really challenging time, and I can't tell you how relieved I was when we found Terra. Even though we were on a wait list at first, Terra checked in with us on a regular basis. They signed us up for prenatal classes so we knew what to expect for our son's birth. They made sure we knew what our options were to access housing, daycare, and other agencies like the food bank. Then I was officially assigned my first Terra worker, Christina. She got to know me and my situation to help me have a healthy pregnancy. To be honest, I'm not sure what I would have done if it hadn't have been for Terra when Charles came into this world. Not long after his birth, I realized that me and Zachary were not healthy for one another. And I made a commitment to provide Charles with safety and stability. So that meant leaving Zachary and going out on my own. That's when Terra made the biggest impact in my life. They offered exactly what we needed even when I didn't know what to ask for. They brought diapers and formula when I was low on funds. They advocated for me when I struggled to access funding from another agency. They taught me about healthy child development and parenting strategies, because there's no worse feeling in the world than being responsible for a life and being unsure if you're doing the right things. Terra really helped me become a confident parent. To provide long-term safety and stability for my son, I went back to work full-time when Charles was 6 months old. But it felt overwhelming to think that my only option in life might be a low-income job and long hours away from my son. When my current Terra worker, Veronica, and her gorgeous face over there, asked me about my goals in life, it was an easy answer. I thought about the difference my grandparents, Stacy, Christina, and now Veronica had made in my life. I thought about how important it is to have someone in my corner, to help me see the good in myself, and to help me grasp my potential when I can't see past all the challenges I'm facing. I realized that I could do that for other people, and decided that I wanted to become a youth addictions and mental health worker. At first, I couldn't imagine getting into university. I mean, I didn't even finish high school. But Veronica helped me navigate the path to apply and be accepted as a mature student. To this day, she continues to support me each step of the way. She's recommended me for leadership development opportunities, like going into high schools to talk about my experience as a teen parent. Because it's a step toward the career that I want, and she knows that I can get back to my community. Veronica has done so much for me. She's helped me edit school papers, get to appointments. She even snagged me a really great deep freeze. Today, I'm standing in front of you, nearing the end of my second semester of university, over 2 years into renting my own home, 2 years into raising a vivacious, incredibly loved little boy, 3 years into a drug-free lifestyle. I'm also standing in front of you pretty exhausted, just saying. But I know that I'm on a good path here, and I'm making choices that will pay off for a lifetime. When I drop Charles off at daycare to go to work, I'm doing it to give him opportunities that I never had. when I put him to bed at night and watch him peacefully drift off. Even the hardest days are worth it. And I'm so incredibly grateful for Terra, an organization that has helped thousands of young parents like me, those determined to be their best selves despite challenging circumstances, many without very promising pasts, but thanks to Terra, very promising futures. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Aura, and I'm a proud 1992 Terra alumni. My family migrated to Canada in the mid-'80s. I was the oldest of 5 siblings, raised in a strong Latin American Catholic family with many cultural practices, values, beliefs passed on to me. Teen pregnancy was not an accepted life event at that time. I was faced with a lot of self-doubt, guilt, shame, and fears about the life I was to be responsible for, my firstborn child. Terra opens its arms and made me feel welcome and accepted. Terra created a safety net for me where I felt a sense of hope and even excitement embarking on this new journey as a young mom. Most importantly, Terra validated my worthiness as a person. Every day I was reminded by all the teachers, counselors, mentors, childcare staff that I was not alone, and that each day was a new opportunity to keep going towards a brighter future. Since then, I have completed my high school diploma, a college diploma, and I went to university and got a degree. Now, almost 30 years later, I wake up every morning. I am grateful that Terra was there for me and my daughter. Now, I could say because of that, my life is rich as a mother, a wife, a daughter, a grandmother, a sister, an aunt, a volunteer, and overall, I am rich as a member of a Canadian community. I enjoy my career as a registered social worker with Alberta Children's Services. And Darlene, my daughter, is now an exceptional nurse and a mother to 2 beautiful children. I am so proud of the wise woman she has become. By sharing my story with you today, I am giving back. It is moments like this that we can take time to reflect and think about those we're grateful for and how we can pay it forward. How can we each become part of the solution to help create brighter futures for others? After all, every parent wants a better future for their children, and young parents are no exception. Thank you, Terra, for playing such an important role in my life and for helping to create such a strong life and future for me and my daughter. Gracias.
Good morning. My name is Carol Gervais. 35 years ago, I walked into Terra with an 8-month-old girl, no education, no support, and minimal life skills. I came from a world of abuse, neglect, and addictions. By all standards, I had no business keeping this baby. I faced every day with that guilt, but I did have determination. Determination to be a good mother, to get an education so that I could support this child and provide a safe home to nurture and love her in. In 1983, there was no internet, there was no Dr. Phil, and there was no Oprah. But there was Terra. Terra taught me life skills, provided childcare while I attended their classes, and counseling that I so urgently needed. They were the first people to believe in me, to believe in my daughter, and that had a very deep impact. In 1987, I graduated from the University of Alberta and began my first career as a dental hygienist. In 2005, I received my second professional designation and began my second career as a CPA. Today, I have a successful career out of both paths as the controller for Dental Choice, a fantastic dental group of companies in Alberta. My Terra baby, Tamara, is now a very successful acupuncturist in Edmonton. By example, I hope I've spent my life teaching my daughter to be accountable for her choices and that there is always a way forward. She has traveled the world. She has flown a plane. That's cool, isn't it? She has faced enormous life challenges, learned from them, and carried on. What I am most proud of is how she lives her life. She is fierce and determined in everything she chooses to do. She lives a joyful, compassionate life and cares about people in a profound way. Looking back, I would have never believed I could raise such an amazing daughter while putting myself through university twice and being self-sufficient the entire time. At that time, I didn't dare think of that far ahead. There was simply too many obstacles. The one thing I never thought I could accomplish was to believe I was worthy. I have proved otherwise. I am grateful to everyone who makes Terra possible because your support changes destinies. Thank you.